Hi, everyone. It is Meredith, and we are going to be doing September transits today. It's a really interesting month. We just got out of basically Venus in retrograde just to have Mercury go into retrograde. We've also got Jupiter retrograding, and we've got big transits with Jupiter. We also are going to have Mars move out of frenetic Virgo and into Libra. And what is that going to create for us? So I want you guys to listen to this video in a little bit of a different way. This is for all 12 signs, but I do things a little bit differently here. And I want to tell you why. It is the deeper truth of astrology. So I want you to take your gorgeous natal chart. Hopefully you got one from my shop. If not, you can go get one. And we pack our charts filled with so many different things, and they're very easy to read. But you cannot really honestly tell a Gemini, this is how your month is going to go. It would take me probably 2 hours to go through all of the transits and how they will affect one sign. And I just don't have that much time. But in truth, you've got planets in all these different signs, right? And so let's say you've got your Venus in Taurus, but you are a Cancer. Well, you need to listen to the Taurus things that I speak about because they're going to affect you deeply because you have your Venus there. So you have to look at these transits and how they fall in your chart to truly understand. So these videos that say, if you're a Gemini rising, this is going to happen. Well, they're telling you like one or two things that's happening in your chart, like basically where Saturn is in your chart or where the sun is in your chart. But I want you to start integrating and synthesizing all of the transits and where they land in your chart by house, what planets they aspect, and how they work with your planets in those houses. And it's really important to start practicing learning astrology like this. It's way more advanced. I understand it's complicated, but I'm going to walk you through it. Okay. So I also want to say I'm going to be stopping and starting this video. So there's no editor. So forgive me. Carly is busy editing my next video, which is going to come out next weekend, which is all about the ninth house. So make sure you check that out next weekend. And let's dive into September transits and what this month is going to bring you. And I will also say one more thing. I do talk about which signs these different transits benefit the most, or which signs will struggle with these particular transits the most. But you have to see if you've got planets, not just your sun, but if you've got planets in those signs and where those houses are in your chart. So you know how that transit, what part of your life that transit will be affecting. The other thing I wanted to say is that I'm going to show you the chart a little bit today, so you'll be able to follow along that way. And I think September is going to throw us some curveballs. Also, for my members, I'm going to do a second video, and it should be loaded right after this one for you. And I'm going to tell you by sign, so Aries through Pisces, what is your very best day of the month. So I choose the very best day for you based on your sun sign. You can also listen for your rising sign and your moon sign. So that's going to be for my members only. It's a little bonus, just a small way that I can say thank you. So let's dive in. So on September 3rd, which is when I think you will be watching this video, hopefully, Venus is going direct, and it's going direct, I believe, at 12 degrees Leo. And the first thing I want to say is, and it goes direct that night. So yes, and it's at 12 degrees. So the first thing I want to say is I want to talk about Venus having been in retrograde. It only happens every 18 months. And so it rarely stations. And station means when it slows down, stops, and then it goes forward. So That's happening on September 3rd, and you might actually feel it. You might actually feel it in the evening, 8 o'clock at night. I think that's Pacific time. In the evening, you might feel the momentum. But let's talk about what happened during its retrograde. You know, it affected, on a deeply personal way, it affected our self-worth, our value in the world, or how our value was perceived in the world. And it also had us asking ourselves, are, are, are our relationships really worth it? Which ones are worth it and which ones really aren't? And it was, in retrograde, shining an introspective light on our money, how we earn it. Do we want to earn more? Do we want to actually work less and earn less? And are we earning our rightful amount of money? Can you relate to this? Tell me if these questions have been bubbling up for you. And it's also, it has developed an eye-opening relationship in regards to weather. Because it was in Leo, which is the sun, the star of our solar system. And what is the sun? It's fire and heat. So especially our relationship, or our eye-opening new ideas, maybe they're not new, but maybe even solidifying our relationship to heat. Look at the catastrophic fires and the record heat waves. And by the way, my heart just goes out to everybody in Maui and around the world, in Canada and in Washington, I think in the Middle East. I mean, it's everywhere. And I'm just so sorry. It's very scary. But record heat waves, hurricanes in, hot places, melting glaciers. And you can see all of this playing out in the world. And I'm wondering, how has the heat affected you? So looking at it from a global perspective, you can really see Venus in retrograde in politics, falling out of love with politics, right? And I won't go into all of the political examples, but we can see Venus in retrograde really loudly with Russia, and with American politics, and just around the world. You can see it loudly. It's basically been having us ask and evaluate, who do we value? What do we value? And what do we want to truly align with going forward? You can also see it in breakups. And there have been so many love relationship breakups. The one that I wanted to talk about was Kevin Costner. I really like Kevin Costner. And his first divorce cost him $80 million. I think it was the most expensive divorce in Hollywood. And in this divorce to his now ex-wife, Christine, I think this is perfect Venus in retrograde. So she tried to convince the judge to give her, can you believe I wasn't using my microphone? $161,000 a month, $161,000 a month for child support for her 3 kids. And Kevin said, no, I'm not going to do that. I have my kids half time. So they have 50-50 custody, and you want $161,000 a month. This is like crazy making money, right? Venus and Leo in retrograde. Like, I want what I want. Kind of like spoiled, right? But now he really got great news, fabulous news, because he doesn't have to pay the $161,000 a month. He only has to pay $63,000 a month, right? Yeah, Venus in retrograde. So I guess she really didn't like him. I guess the money is far more exciting than his love. So anyways, you're going to, and also I wanted to say, Venus is female. Venus is also money. And I think the Barbie movie, and by the way, wait till you see my chart today. It's in honor of Barbie. I think the Barbie movie, I spoke about this last month, is just a sensational, just an iconoclastic representation of Venus in retrograde. This reemergence of Barbie, revaluing something that once was so cherished and valued, then it sort of lost its way. and then it revived itself and it became the biggest moneymaker for a female director ever of all time. Box office hit, sensation, just incredible traction amongst women. I'm not positive if men really get or appreciate the messaging inside of the movie of Barbie, but women do. And so, very Venus in retrograde, right? So this month, we're going to have Venus going direct. We are also going to be dealing with the headaches of Mercury in retrograde. And that started on August 23rd and it goes until September 15th. So pay attention to that part of this video. And also, as I mentioned, we're going to have Mars move signs. So you're going to feel the energy shift. And it's going to be really, really, I think it's going to be nice. And then we are also dealing with Venus squaring Jupiter, and we have a giant Jupiter month. Jupiter is a giant player this month. And whenever Jupiter is a giant player, giant things happen. So we're going to talk all about it. So first, I want to talk about Mercury in retrograde. So look to the planets that sit in your chart, okay? And hopefully you guys got my aspect finder. I am going to order 20 more. And so look for these coming into my shop probably in a week or so. I'll make an announcement. And I only want to go to the post office one time. I mean, it's pretty bad. It's kind of a big deal for me to have to like go to the post office. So you can look at your aspect finder and see the relationship that your planets have to Virgo. So 21 degrees Virgo to 8 degrees Virgo is where Mercury is going backwards. It starts at 21, it goes to 20, 19, 18, 17, 16, all the way back to 8 degrees of Virgo. So wherever that is in your chart, the house is going to show you the subject matter. So if it's the 4th house, this is your home. If it's the 10th house, this is your career, your calling. If it's the 8th house, it is, well, it could be an inheritance, your will, your documents, your taxes, right? If it's your 2nd house, it is your bank account. Look over the details right now. And this is on the subjects usually of your money. So if it's in the 7th house, look at your partner's money. What are they doing with it? And look at your business partners. And have you put somebody in charge of your money? Do you have an accountant? Right? So look at what they're doing with your money. Are they being honest? Is it working right? Do you need a new system? Do you need a new accountant? If it's your 1st house, it could be your physical fitness. So this is usually on the subject of, because it's in Virgo. So it's in Virgo. And then I want you to figure out, is Virgo in easy aspect to your sun, to your Mercury, to your rising sign? So is this, if it is an easy aspect, if it is in trine or sextile or even conjunction, it might be a little bit easier for you to navigate. But if it's in hard aspect to your sun, your rising sign, or your Mercury, it could really bring up some problems. So look over the details of your life, your money, your work, your health, your wellness, your relationship to your nieces and nephews, because Virgo is the mentor in the chart. And really think about how and what you want to learn. So do you want to go back to a classroom style school, or do you want to do online learning? So how do you want to best learn? Do you want to read books, listen to books, watch YouTube? How do you want to learn? And what do you want to learn? And develop probably right now a new routine to get rid of waste in your life. And put only the important meetings on the calendar and get rid of the meetings that just don't matter. Review how you can be more efficient and more useful in your job, in your health, in your wellness, in your home, in your family, in your career, right? Create a new system, a new filing system, a new workout system, a new diet system, a new health and wellness system, right? A new way to keep your passwords system. Yeah, organized. And maybe even a new investment system. This might be a time when you want to change banks, maybe where you want to get a new credit card where you can put the money on a new card at 0% and start working down the debt, right? But right now, I want to say, do not worry right now. This is the time to be calm and you just reorganize yourself. I want to say that on September 3rd, Venus is going direct. Hallelujah. That is hopefully today when you are watching this, and it's going direct at 12 degrees Leo. So, where do you have 12 degrees Leo? Because this is where your Venus is going to be launched and liberated. And, Venus is the planet of feminine energy, love, and beauty. Um, Venus is love, beauty, money, self-worth, self-esteem, right? And I want you to go look at where you have 12 degrees Leo, because this is where you've sort of been being played with and toyed with over these last weeks when Venus has been in retrograde. And this is where you're going to now move forward. And I'm like, hallelujah, get that thing off my ascendant, right? Like, let me shine. And this is where you will shine. So where is this 12 degrees in your chart? Because this is where you're going to break out now with love, with beauty, with money, with focus, with attention, with becoming your own shining star, right? So what house it is in and what planet it is touching will show you the dance that you are having with Venus. So if it's Pluto, if you're that old and you have Pluto in Leo, which would mean you were born like in the 40s, that means there's sort of a transformation around probably love, self-worth, and money, and who you want to love, right? And maybe even self-love. So this can bring a really significant event in your life around this time, around this Labor Day weekend in the United States. And it can bring giant shifts in our relationships, in our finances, and in our sense of self. And that is really, really true. I think you're going to actually feel a little bit more positive right now. And this can bring in sort of new optimism. This Venus going direct in Leo is really great for everyone, but I think it is exceptionally great for Leos, Leo risings, Leo moons, Leo Venus, Leo Mars, Leo in the personal planets. And the personal planets are, I do count your rising sign. Although that's a place, that's a point, that's not a planet. Your sun, your moon, your Mercury, Venus, and Mars, and also Jupiter. So Venus going direct is really going to benefit people who have Leo, Sagittarius, Gemini, and Aries in those personal planets. You're going to feel this really positive, big jolt. And you might even feel like, gosh, I'm worth it. I'm worth this. But it is sort of a gift for everyone. Everybody will feel like you can move forward. You can take a deep breath with the knowledge and the insights that we gleaned during that Venus in retrograde about our relationships, about our money, about our self-worth, about our relationship to weather, if you will. And we can feel more positive after maybe having experienced setbacks or delays or even hard choices that we had to make. We can now, during the retrograde, we can now maybe see the silver lining in some of those choices. Like if you broke up with your partner, your business partner, or if you felt like you had to fly the nest from your family or let something go, or you had to say goodbye to something that you once really valued, cherished, or loved. And it might be just a belief system. It might be, I don't know, it might be just a home or an animal of some sort. Now you can have clarity around what you are supposed to do. What you are supposed to do with that thing that you had to probably face or go through or say goodbye to. Okay, so I really wanted to show you my chart. This is in honor of Barbie. This is not my gorgeous natal chart. My gorgeous natal chart has way more information on it than this, but I wanted to show you this because this is Seattle time and it's at 8:12 at night on September 3rd. And it's right there next to Juno. And so I really think this is a jolt of real female power. And I also think that this could mean your relationship might have a resurgence to it. It might repair, it might heal, you might move forward in a new way. And look at the chart right now at this time when Venus goes retrograde and look at the planets that you have around 9 and 12 degrees Leo.
because those planets are being interacted with, talked to. And also, if you have 9 and 12 Gemini, Sagittarius, or Aries, those are harmonious aspects. And so I think there is a repair. I think there is, if something was pulled apart, separated, there was loss, there was sadness, I think for those signs, you will see a coming back together, maybe in a new way, but in a way that's healthy. If you are an Aquarius, I think this is also going to benefit you because now we don't have the opposition in a retrograde. It's like whatever you learned some new truth about your self-worth. And now you're going to implement a plan going forward. Um, I also think if you are a Scorpio or a moon, you learned a hard truth that you still might not know what to do with. You learn something about who values you, who doesn't value you, what you're actually worth, what you're not worth, what you're willing to spend your time on. And you might have gotten a big F you. And so now you're trying to put the pieces together, but you can do so going forward. Really interesting. And I also want to say with water signs, well, Pisces and Cancer, and even Virgo and Capricorn. I think this is kind of a twisted pretzel, like a braid. It's going to be bittersweet for you. Some hard things, some medium things, and some great things are going to come out of this. But here is the chart. And also, we're firmly in that Mars and Libra. We're going to talk about that. So take a peek at that for a minute. Okay, September 4th is a really interesting day because now Jupiter goes into retrograde. And this is actually quite common. And so if you were like me, born with Jupiter in retrograde, I kind of like it because it creates a deep ability for introspection because Jupiter rules our belief systems. And in ancient days, it ruled our religion. Now we might say spirituality. And it makes you a very deeply intuitive person around what you believe in and your belief system. And it is actually going to stay in retrograde until the end of the year, the very end of the year, December 30th. So on December 31st, it goes direct and you might feel the energy hop forward, jump forward, or jolt forward. But right now, we are starting on September 4th. We're going, and it's more subtle than a Venus in retrograde or Mercury in retrograde. It's very subtle. And this Jupiter it's like it takes longer to slow down, stop, and reignite, if you will. So until the end of the year, we're really reevaluating or reflecting on what do we believe in? What are our priorities? And what are our new priorities around our new belief system? What new thing are we believing in? Right? I have this giant new thing that I'm researching. And it's extraterrestrial life. And I am going to do extraterrestrial life, aliens, and astrology. And I'm researching it right now. And I'm deep down in the rabbit hole. I'm getting my PhD in it, right? And so this has just found me right when Jupiter is going retrograde. So I find it interesting. So, what new thing are you starting to research, maybe believe in or not believe in? It could also be you walking away from an old belief system. And it's also because it's in Taurus, I'll show you the chart in a minute. Because it's in Taurus, it is a time where we are forming a new belief system or we are reassessing our belief system around our money, our resources, our material goods, and how we sustain ourselves. You know, what kind of roof do you want to have over your head? What kind of money and change do you want to jingle in your pocket? And what possessions do you want to hold on to? And it's a time for us to really reassess our relationship to money and to our material goods, and also to our food and the way in which we eat and sustain ourselves. This can bring an opportunity for growth, abundance, expansion, And especially if we're willing to go in and dig for our own truths. Jupiter is the truth seeker, the truth finder, the visionary. And I want to know the truth, right? So it is also your relationship to the truth. And we're also during this time between now and December 30th, we're likely to receive unexpected blessings and support from unexpected sources. So right now is a time to develop a deeper sense of self-worth, self-reliance, self-love. And this is a time to explore maybe a new way to earn an income, and to create a more sustainable lifestyle, right? Like, should we cut back a little bit now so we can actually retire? Or should we get a second side job so we can actually do the things we want to do, right? But I want you to be open-minded right now, because the truths are going to be deep and internal. And let me tell you something about this. This can be very, very lonely. When you are the only one in your family or in your household that is exploring a new truth, finding a new truth, living by a new truth, and everybody else is living in an old truth, that can be extraordinarily painful. That can be so alienating and so lonely and so hard. So, one thing I say is find your tribe right now. Find friends that are like minded, that share the belief system that you are trying on. And that's one of the ways that you can navigate this introspective Jupiter right now. And I want to also say, stay open to new opportunities, because new beliefs will find you right now. Maybe you never believed in magic before and you're walking down the street and you see this magical thing. Well, that's a divine message. Jupiter brings in the divine. Jupiter brings in the divine. Jupiter also brings in the intuitive. So start practicing your telepathy right now. Start practicing your intuition right now. And I want you to be really open-minded with Jupiter in retrograde, because it's a time when you can feel your own pulse and you don't even have to feel for it. You can just feel your own pulse. It's a very magical retrograde. I love Jupiter in retrograde because it brings in deep spirituality. It's not just extroversion, it's deep, deep, deep within you, and it's enormous. Jupiter is the largest planet, 13,300 or so times the size of Earth, and that's all happening in you. It's like a volcanic energy inside of you. So I really want you to tap into this, and you have until December 30th to do it. Now, Jupiter retrogrades a lot. So it usually stays in retrograde for about 4 months, and it happens about every 13 months. So a little over a year. So this will happen again in a year, but why wait? Let's turn into our new philosophical, spiritual reflections, right? And I want to tell you that you're probably going to have an opportunity to really grow right now and develop, and also find an internal happiness, and even find success with Jupiter in retrograde. Um, but you have to go inside and you have to find the happiness inside. I'll tell you a secret. So my daughter is experiencing a lot of the high school hard stuff, right? Did we all have a hard time in high school? Like, I don't really know too many people that, high school was just easy, but hard stuff. And so one of the big lessons that she's learning with her Jupiter is happiness is an inside job. And as long as I'm going to tether myself to the external world and external friendships, I'm going to be constantly and chronically disappointed, right? So happiness is tethered to your internal happiness. Just because your mom was a mean mom, or you had a bad dad or no mom, right? Or your sisters abused you, doesn't mean you can never be happy. You just have to create it on the inside. And so it's a time to really focus on your happiness level, your optimism. And I want to say something else. Right now, this is a great time for both your spiritual and your material growth. So your non-material and your material growth. Isn't that crazy? Why? Because the spiritual side to Jupiter is in the material sign of Taurus. So everybody become a pastor at a church and get rich. Become an evangelical pastor, right? And Tammy Faye Baker, here I come. Yeah, no, that was just a joke. But it's like, this is when your spirituality can make money. But this is also a time when you might drive on two separate train tracks, where you develop your spirituality and you also develop your pocketbook. So it's a really interesting placement. And when it goes in, it's attached to your core. It's attached to your core right here. It's not attached to something outside of you. You can take this and share it with something outside of you, but you're in control of it. So Jupiter in Taurus wants to provide you with sustenance, with money, with resources, with a deeper spiritual belief, with food, with grounded energy, with a beautiful environment. It wants to stabilize you, and it's going to internalize those shifts and those beliefs around those subjects. And it's going to come through the doorway, right, where you have this in your chart. So I'll show you the chart right now. So here it is right here. And I absolutely think this is going to be like boom, because we've got the moon on Jupiter, which I love, but I never really like the moon on Uranus. I think that can bring in emotional, shell shocking things. And this is September 4th. And you can see that. So I want you to see in your chart, where do you have 15 degrees Taurus? And I take an orb, I should say this, I take an orb of 10 degrees. So where do you have between 5 and 25 degrees of Taurus in your chart? Because that is the house. Everything I just said is coming through the portal or the landscape of that house in which you have Taurus in. So if it's your rising sign, it is your whole life. It is going to affect all of you. If it is your sun sign, it is your soul. This is deep, deep in your soul. If it's your Venus in Taurus, well, this Jupiter is going to really ask you questions about your money, your beauty, your value, your relationships, right? If it's on your Mars, it's about your energy and your drive. If it's in your seventh house, it is about your partnerships. So I want you guys to really start thinking about astrology in a synthesizing way, and not just, well, you said you were doing this for sun sign, all 12 signs. Well, stick with this video, because if you guys are a member, I am going to give you your very best day for each sign. But you really have to look at the entirety of the chart and what these planets are doing in your particular house system and with your planets. So I think this is going to be a really interesting day. And I'll tell you, I think that with this Jupiter, it's coming into a trine to the sun, which is going to bring giant blessings to your Taurus energy, your Virgo energy, and your Capricorn energy. Also, your Cancer energy and your Pisces energy. So, those people are going to actually really love this time, even though we have Mercury in retrograde. And we have Mercury in retrograde in an exact trine to the Jupiter. And then that Jupiter is coming into an exact trine to the sun. So Virgo, this is really, really lovely for you. And I know it's opposing Saturn, but I just want you to take the bennies of this. I want you to take the benefits, and also to Taurus. I mean, this is just like, I might play the lottery. I don't usually play the lottery. And by the way, I picked up a $6 like lottery ticket that I haven't even scratched off. I don't normally play the lottery, but I might if I was a Virgo or a Taurus right now, or a Cancer or a Capricorn or a Pisces. And I think that this energy is kind of hard. I think it's a little bit hard. It's a little bit twisted, I should say, where it's bitter sweet with this square. We're going to talk more about it, but there's a bitter sweetness to Scorpio. So there's really good things, but because Scorpio is opposing this, I think there's big lessons for Scorpio. And but I think there's big good lessons for Scorpio if they want to learn them. Um, we're going to go more into this, but I just wanted you to see this chart. Okay, so on September 6th, we have that Mercury in Virgo retrograde conjunct the Virgo sun, and that's on September 6th, and it's at 13 degrees. So look at 13 degrees in your chart and see if you have it square, or if you have it conjunct, or if you have it in trine to Virgo at 13 degrees. And again, I take a 10-degree orb. Just assume that for everything. But you know that Mercury is our planet of communication, traveling to short distances, our technology. And this is a time when you can have just notorious, just absolutely awful miscommunications and disruptions. So just get ready for technology, you know, your car, your computer, your camera, your phone, your lights, your power, you know, breakdowns, delays, disruptions, right? And when it's conjunct to the sun, um, you know, as I said, the sun is the center of our solar system. So it's making maybe more energy than what we're capable of containing. And so it can be a lot of friction. It can be lightning. It can have sparks. It can be too much of a busy calendar. Can't get everything done. I have too much to pack for my trip. I'm not organized right. And so you can feel like you just can't put all the worms back into the can. And so I would say simplify Virgo's energy. Instead of doing 20 things, do 2 things and do 2 things well. And really use this potent energy to your advantage by slowing way down and not getting frenetic and crazy and lost in the cynicism or in the upset or in the disruption, and make adjustments as needed. Be willing to flow. At least this is immutable, right? A mutable sign. So at least adjust. Be prepared that you might not have all the ingredients to make your recipe, and use cilantro instead of parsley. Like, this is a time to be adaptable and flexible, and not be too critical, too cynical, too depressed, too upset with the way things are not going and not working out. I want you to laugh at the foibles and laugh at the faux pas. Laugh when your computer doesn't turn on. Laugh when you have no internet in your house. And I wrote down a quote, and it was really, really great. God, I hope I can find it. It was so, so good. I have to find this for you. Gosh, I love Daniel Brinkley, and I had been studying with him over 30 years ago. And he's like died. He's had like 6 deaths, and he's come back from all of them. And he's just fascinating, Daniel Brinkley. And he said, if you don't have a sense of humor, you will never define the divinity that lives inside of you. I love that. If you don't have a sense of humor, you will never define the divinity that lives inside of you. Yeah. Rewind that and really let that sink in. This is a time to have a sense of humor. This is the time. In order to have a divine relationship with self, you have to be willing to laugh at the absurdities of yourself and your life and the world in which you live. Absolutely. This is a time when you can also meditate and understand deeply the source of your own limitations. Let me say that one more time. This is a time until September 15th, and especially on the 4th, for you to really explore, what is the true source of your limitations? Was it truly somebody else? Or is it that you're holding on to that story? Can you get past your story? Can you heal your story? Can you let go of that story so you can create a new story? Yeah. This is the time to listen to your inner voice. This is the time to really go into deep self-reflection. We have the sun conjunct Mercury, and it's all sitting there in trine to Jupiter in retrograde. I mean, this is a time for big internal mind expansion. Blow your mind away. Think of the unimaginable and sit with it. It's time to really take a break, slow down, be in the imagination of what your world wants to be. Break away from the mundane, boring routine and sit it out. Be the person in the house that didn't do the dishes. Get into your inner wisdom. Eat on one plate and use one fork for a week just so you can slow down, right? This is big for everybody, but if you have a Virgo rising, a Virgo moon, a Virgo sun, it's so, so huge. Also, I want to say it's going to challenge you, hopefully in a good way, if you're a Gemini, Sagittarius, or a Pisces, or if you have prominent planets and placements in Gemini, Sag, or Pisces. Why? Because those are all square to this. And if you are a Gemini, Sag, or Pisces, oh my God, you need to chill out. Absolutely chill out. Now, the sun is going to be trine by aspect for most of the month of September, while the sun is in Virgo. But I'm going to tell you that on September 8th, it is going to be exact trine. And that's because Jupiter, has that retrograde. So it's going to line up with the sun. So, wow, what a great time for Virgo suns and Tauruses, and awesome for Capricorn in your chart and Cancers. And if you have moons rising, you have those signs on the angles. If you've got Mars in those signs, like wow, all the personal planets or your own Jupiter, wow, lucky you, right? So hard work can bring big blessings with Taurus. So Virgo is the hard work, Taurus is sort of the payment for it. This is a time that would be really good for you to think about, maybe not right now, because I just told you to chill out, but I want you to think about what your program and your plan is going to be after the 15th of September, and maybe put it into context. Maybe start, if you want to be a podcaster, you get your format, you get your lighting, you get you get it all set up so you can launch after the 15th, but not in a crazy way, just in a way that's sort of magical and inspirational. This is a time when I feel like the world can help you grow your enthusiasm for life or your self-confidence. And it can be also a time of, like I said, this deep spiritual growth. And this is a time when you can really believe in your goals, really dream up your dream and realize that you can actually do your dream. This is a time when you can actually see it, put the program into place to achieve it. It's like becoming crystal clear around what it is you really want and what it is you're really worth. Now, with Scorpio and Pisces, you might feel like you have to lose something to win something else. And I think that this is a little bit hard for Gemini and Sagittarius to like squeeze the juice out of the lemon. Have you ever gotten a lemon and you're making salad dressing and you get your one lemon and you squeeze it and it's literally dry and there's nothing? That can be kind of like how Geminis and Sag feel a little bit about this aspect. But I would say that this is a time to really think up new opportunities that will expand your work or expand your happiness or expand your horizon, and then act on them after September 15th. Act on them after September 15th. Yeah. The last thing I want to say is that the Virgo and and the Taurus makes this kind of also practical. So taking your spirituality and putting it into a practical form, or putting your dream into pragmatics and practicality, making it efficient and useful and meaningful and of worth and of value, and utilizing those gifts that live inside of you. So I want you to really take a look at your health, your wellness, your finances. Because right now, between now and December 30th, you can really develop something that feels stable, stabilizing, and brings you or grows or develops, or you're developing a plan to develop security for yourself. But it's really important to stay sort of like with your truth, because it is Jupiter. Don't be bought out. Don't sell out right now. Honor your truth, your belief system. Okay, let's talk about the new moon in Virgo on September 14th. Okay, so what I want to say about this new moon is I really like this new moon, but the main reason why I like this moon is because it is wide, but it is still in aspect to this Jupiter, Jupiter Uranus. And so I think you could have really interesting surprises. And especially if you are a Capricorn, a Virgo, a Taurus, a Cancer, um, and I won't say Pisces and I won't say Scorpio to that. But those are the signs, or those are the places in your chart that can have like snap, crack, crackle, and pop. And this is a time when you can really get into all new Virgo things. So your whole life could become more efficient, more effective. Maybe you streamline, maybe you get an online scheduler, maybe you get a virtual assistant, maybe you get an assistant, maybe you get a house cleaner, maybe you don't have to do all your chores, right? You get new systems in place that will help grow your optimism, your happiness, and help you become more grounded. Now, I also want to say that I'm loving this Venus Juno thing. And that's kind of nice, just having that alone. It doesn't go that great with the Virgo. But I also like how this is in a wide trine to Pluto, because I think it's a time when you can really create, this is for all signs, you can really step into a deep personal power, because there's an alignment to Pluto. So Pluto finally gets a little bit of support. And I like that a lot. Now, the hardest thing about this moon for all people is this Neptune opposing the moon and the sun. And you can see that right here, this Neptune opposing the sun and the moon. And that's when you can become a little bit gullible. You can become a little bit, if it's too good to be true, it is. Somebody can dupe you, somebody can trick you, and somebody can really take advantage of you emotionally, and you could be emotionally manipulated. Be careful, because Mercury is still in retrograde. It's on its final day. It's going to go direct the next day. But who's lying to you? Who is literally not telling you the truth? And be wise enough and smart enough to double check the facts, right? Make sure that you're in something honest. You're not in a scheme. You're not in a scam. I want you to be really, really cognizant of all of the details. That's super important. But this is a good new moon, and I want you to work with it, see where it falls in your chart. It's happening at 6:39 p.m. in Seattle, Washington, in the 7th house. So that's a new beginning. This chart shows that it's a new beginning for relationships. But what else does this chart show? And I hope you guys have all watched my video, how to read. I hope you watched my playlist on understanding astrology, and astrology 101. That's really important. But Neptune is the ruler of this new moon, because, and so is Mercury, Neptune and Mercury. Mercury's still in retrograde, but this Neptune, right, is opposing it. So there's duplicity here. So I want you to be of sound mind and of clear mind. But Virgo new moons always produce really, really good results. So manifest. And if you don't know how to manifest, I have a whole video on what to do on every new moon. That's what it's called. And it's my new moon ritual. So get your crystals and manifest on this day. Okay, I have just a couple little things that I want to say. One, I am so excited about Barcelona and I feel so blessed because it's almost sold out. I have about 4 tickets left, and I cannot tell you how incredible this trip is going to be. It is going to be magical and it is going to be enlightening. And if you are a Pisces or if you have a big Neptune in your chart, this is the event for you. It's going to be a chance in a lifetime, I think. And maybe we're going to see how it goes. And maybe I'll do it again next year. I think the event space is absolutely extraordinarily beautiful. And we are going to have tapas on the rooftop bar and we're going to go to a flamenco show. So if you want to be one of the last people to grab a ticket, I've got 4 or 5 tickets left, and I hope you will join us. The other thing I want to say is I'm a little bit sad, and that is that we are retiring our line of necklaces. And I don't know if you can see how absolutely beautiful. It didn't match what I was wearing today, so I didn't wear it. But this is our miracle necklace. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh, it is so beautiful. I hope the light is letting it. It is so gorgeous in the sun. It has an opalescence to it. Anyways, we're retiring our necklaces and we have only a few left, and we don't have every one left. We only have a few of the different intentions left. And so grab yours if you want to get it. And then Dawn and I are going to design something new. I don't know what it is. It's a surprise, but we are going to design something new. But if you did want to get one of our intention necklaces, our inventory is really, really low. Also, if you didn't get an aspect finder, I think I'm going to order 20 more and I'll put those in my shop. And I'm going to do a video for everybody who got one so I can teach you how to use it. Okay. And also, I wanted to say thank you, my members, and make sure you look for your special video that I'm going to do for you for the September transits. And I try to spoil you as much as I possibly can. And I just want to say thank you for being a super supporter or a superstar super supporter. And if you are a superstar super supporter, you know you get to come to my masterclass for free, right? That's on November 5th. I hope you'll be there with me live, but you'll get the link. And super supporters get a discount. And if not, you can just buy your own ticket. But I'm having my next masterclass on Scorpios. So come learn, and you can find the tickets in my shop. It's on events and tickets, and just get your Scorpio masterclass ticket. And you can, there's one that says free. There's one for the different levels. So you can buy the level that you want. But hopefully I'll be seeing you guys on November 5th. That's going to be super exciting. Okay, so Mercury's going direct on September 15th. But between the 15th and the 30th, it's in its second shadow phase. And this is going to be a time, though, where I say, like, jump back into life. So this is at 8 degrees, it turns direct, and then it keeps going, right? And I'm going to be really, really excited to see what you all do with this. And you can use the new moon in Virgo energy manifestation, right? To create your organization and your productivity goals for Mercury turning direct the very next day. So it's kind of cool. You can manifest on the new moon for Mercury going direct and taking you forward on the 15th. And I really do feel that this has the potential to just liven everybody up. And I think that this is a time when you can really, really manifest or execute the nuts and bolts to become exceptionally productive in your life. And I also want to say that on the 15th of September, it's a very interesting day because we have the sun making its square to Uranus in Taurus. And so this is a time to be more progressive and more open-minded and maybe even more experimental and even adventurous, and also a time to create your trip, your long distance journey, because Jupiter is in the mix too. So this is a great time to put a trip on the plan. So if you have your passport, right, Barcelona is calling your name. And I want to also tell you that this is a time for unexpected, really positive, yummy, juicy, great, exciting changes. So, what new thing are you wanting to do? This is a time when your confidence level can really be quite great. And this is a time when you can separate from the tribe and blaze your own trail, walk your own path, sort of rebel against, what you've been handcuffed to and the chores that you've been having to do. And so what quirky, new, incredible thing do you want to study or learn or embrace or develop or create or innovate, right? And I just want to tell you that the conditions around you could really change right now, and they could be supporting you in your new exploration, or they could be challenging you. And both create movement, right? And traction. So I think this is a really, really exhilarating day, September 15th. It's like all systems go. It's going to be super fun. Yeah. Yeah. It's like get your engines on because we're about to take off. Okay, I want to show you kind of a little pothole. And this little pothole is on September 16th, Seattle time 1:30. So calculate it for your time because I'm talking about a specific hour. At this hour, we have Mars on the moon, right, in Libra. And it is not yet conjunct to the south node, but the moon will be conjunct to the south node the later, and it's going to cross that south node probably the next day, but it's going to become conjunct to it in just a few hours. So right here by 6:30 at night. But what I want to say is when the moon is on Mars and it's close to that south node and it's opposing Chiron, I want you to be really careful. So this is September 16th, right? And now it's at 6:30 at night, but starting at 1:30 in the afternoon. But I'm talking Pacific time. So calculate this for your time. And by the way, I do live, and by the way, this is Saturday. So this is going into Saturday night. So, I gotta I gotta pay attention to this too. And so Saturday night, here we are, let's say 10:30 at night. Look at this. This is really tight. This is tight. And now the moon is getting closer to the south node. And then on Sunday, that moon is going to be on the south node. But what I want to say about this chart is that, and then the moon is going to be square to Pluto. And this is September 16th. Okay. So September 16th and 17th, it's not necessarily God awful for everyone. But when I see a day like this, I give my kid the kiss she does not want on the cheek and the hug that annoys her. I don't care. And it's not really, she just tolerates me because I give her too many. And she's cute. But what I'm saying is that I go with a little trepidation. I don't necessarily change my plans. I just make sure my plans, involve a little security and safety. And I share my location, all that. So I don't want to scare anybody, but what I'm trying to say is don't be reckless and don't be too crazy and love yourself and love other people well. But mostly how I see this playing out rather than like scary, dangerous things is I think that there's a real opportunity that you could get your feelings massively hurt, or you could just be kind of cruel with your own words or your own energy, if you will. But this can be very hard emotionally. So where do you have 13 degrees anything in your chart? Now, because if you have 13 degrees anything in your chart, it's talking to this part of this chart, this living chart. It's talking to it. It might be quincunx, it might be in conjunction, it might be in square, it might be in trine, whatever it is. It's not necessarily simple because this is a hard aspect. Even if it's in trine, it could be too much of a good thing, right? It could be, I don't know, your gorgeous outfit fit, you sit in it and the dress splits in half and you have an embarrassing moment. So it could be something that is really good and wonderful gone wrong if it's a trine. But I do want to say that if you take care, you can manage the moon usually. So just take care. So wherever you have 13 degrees in your chart, especially Libra, Aries, Cancer, or Capricorn, this is really tough. It's a little bit more friendly, but not totally friendly to Sagittarius, Aquarius, and Geminis. And of course, the water signs Scorpio and Pisces, and even Taurus can get their feelings hurt. They can get really emotional. This can be a really emotional day. This can be an emotional breakdown. So if you've got somebody in your life that is struggling emotionally, reach out to them, send them a love note, send them a love text, surprise them and actually mail them a card, right? Reach out to those people who are kind of suffering in their life. So September 17th, Venus in Leo is squaring Jupiter in Taurus. And this is really, really interesting. And this happens, this happens for a while. So I wanted to try to pull the chart up for you. Look at this. So you've got the Jupiter square Venus right here. Okay. So, and this is going to go until about October 1st by orb, by a 10-degree orb, but it's exact on this day. And you're going to see this out there in the world. And I don't know how it's going to specifically show up for you, but this is tough for Aquariuses. This is kind of tough for Leos. This is tough for Tauruses. And this is really tough for Scorpios, especially if you have your planets at the 15 degree. Now, this is hard also, or this is touching, or this is resonating, this theme song, if you have any personal planet at the 15th degree. And that is the precise exact middle point. And if you guys didn't see my video about the 0, 15, and 29 degrees, go watch that video. You need to know the meaning of the different degrees. And the 15th is the 15th degree is the midpoint of each sign. So it's the exact pure energy of these two signs. So if you have a 15 degrees something, it's talking to this aspect and it is going to resonate. So this can be out there in the world. You will see spoiled, entitled people sort of buying their way, right, through the value system. Like they didn't get their fare. They bought their way. They're there for status, for money. They're rich. I don't know, they look the way they're supposed to look. I don't know. Their looks buy them in, their money buys them in, their Ferrari buys them something. It can also be where people become really spoiled and super entitled. And it can be quite disgusting. And we might really in September see people out in the world. And I really doubt it's you because you're here watching this video and you're soul searching, right? So I think, and I love this. I think my group of followers are far more thoughtful people. Not everybody, but most, honestly. But you're going to see those who are kind of just out for money, those who live superficially, those who lack sincerity. When Venus squares Jupiter, you can kind of see through the facade, if you will. This also can be people trying to get you to pay their way. Who is abusing you? Who's asking you one too many times for a loan and not paying you back, right? That's this aspect. And don't do it. And who are you enabling? Are you enabling somebody? And do you know deep inside that you really shouldn't because it's too painful to teach them the lesson or the boundary that you have inside of you? So it's easier just to indulge or enable or pretend like you don't see what they're doing to you, right? This is also going to bring up the question of, am I allowed to have all this goodness? Am I allowed to have all this decency? Am I allowed to have all this love, affection, and attention? Do I deserve this? why am I so blessed? I just read in the paper today that this lady just won a $50,000 lottery ticket after having just won another giant lottery ticket. And I literally asked this question, like, why did she get to win two? I'm sure she has reasons, but I just felt like, wow, somebody else could have used that. By the way, I've never bought one of those lottery tickets where you have to get all the numbers, right? I just do the little $1 scratch, but I should. This can also be working your literal butt off, right, for the good life. And this can be you redefining what is the good life. Like, I'm starting to realize that the good life is a hammock on the beach with the crashing waves in a fire pit. Do you know? Do you know when I was a little girl, I would have never said that. I didn't grow up like that. I would have never said that. And I'm a city person too. And that's the good life too, like touring all the museums in Paris, right? That's the good life for me. But I'm just saying there's like sort of maybe a new definition for you of what is the good life now, right? Is the good life the Range Rover and the white picket fence and the, 2.5 children? And now you can really step into the creation of that good life if you work at it, and you can feel worthy of it. And it's a reevaluation of, because Jupiter is in retrograde and Venus just got out of it. So you got a whole reality check around Venus. Now you're using the Venus in retrograde that we had in August and early September with the Jupiter in retrograde, which creates reflection. Retrogrades create deep reflection, but there's a reevaluation of what it means to be empty and what you truly value and desire. So do you have an emptiness in here? And then if so, how do you make it full? And I remember that I had this friend that whenever we got together, like her favorite topic was literally the best makeup products to buy at Sephora or whatever. And I found it interesting, and I found it like, yay, I want to know about it. Of course, I care. But I was so bored. I just wanted to die. I just was like, oh, I cannot talk about lip liner anymore. But I did that because I valued the friendship and I valued her and I loved her and her family. And so I just kind of like, and so I don't know, this is going to be a time when you really see the conversations that you outgrow, right? And can you reshape those conversations? So I don't want you to lower your standards right now. It's not about lowering your standards because that could lead you to the wrong place, right? But I also kind of don't want you to indulge that which you do not value, and redirect yourself to find people that are open to the things that you value. And also, this is a time when you could really overeat and gain weight. I just want to be honest with you, especially if you are a Taurus or even a Cancer. So, because there's an excess with this. And you could overspend on things that are not of great value. So don't go broke saving money, or don't go broke buying cheap things that you're going to have to, replace every 3 years. Like, buy the more expensive quality thing that's going to last for a decade. I say that with cars, beds, patio furniture, your couch, right? Like, invest in you in a solid way that actually creates more wealth for you. So you don't have to keep replacing the broken blender or whatever. This is going to be a time also when I feel like you can really gain traction and rewards if you work with this energy. And working with this energy is about the exploration of your truth, and be willing to not play the role, but live out the authentic you. Put the authentic you out there. Just to reiterate, this is kind of hard for Leo, Taurus, Aquarius, and Scorpio. Those are the fixed signs. because they are square to both Leo and Taurus, and Scorpio's in opposition. So it's going to be a little like you're going to learn these things through challenges, through being challenged. It's bittersweet for Gemini and Sagittarius and Virgo and Capricorn because, well, I should say Leo does Gemini and Sagittarius well, and Taurus does Virgo and Capricorn well, but the reverse isn't true. So Taurus doesn't work real well with Gem and Sag, and Leo doesn't work great with Virgo and Capricorn. So it's bittersweet, right? Some wins and some losses, and you're juggling both energies. And Cancer benefits from the Taurus, but it's struggling with a Pluto opposition if you have your Cancer planets at the late degrees. And also Cancer is struggling a little because that moon Mars is still in Libra. So this one's a little bit tough. This is tough lessons for Cancer, character growing. Okay. So I just want you to be a little prepared so you can navigate your own truths. And the key for Cancer is to live out and be courageous enough to live out your own truth. I would also say with this is that earning your own money creates power. So if you are dependent on the income of somebody else, even if they don't intend it, even if it's not intentional, they hold the power in the relationship. And oftentimes it might not even be at a conscious level, but having your own resources, your own money creates empowerment. And it's just enough to be able to leave if you need to. Yeah. So September 19th, we're getting towards the end of Virgo. We're at 26 degrees with the sun, and it's opposite Neptune. And this can really make you feel confused, especially if you are a Pisces or a Virgo, even a Sag and a Gemini. And you can feel like you don't know what you really want. You can feel like you want both things. You can feel like you don't know which way is up and which way is down. You can be so completely, totally confused, baffled, overwhelmed. And it can make you feel insecure and even discouraged. It can make you feel like you've got too much to do and you're just spinning in circles. But I want to tell you to get out of your ego space and get into your soul space, and just know that this is a really good time for you to share yourself with others that love you. This is a time when you might feel really sensitive to the harder parts of, or the more mundane parts of life. And you might experience some losses or goodbyes that are hard to deal with. You might not like aggressive, assertive, bully people, or you might encounter them. And this is a time when you might feel like you are, I don't know, your goodness is being exploited or taken advantage of. This is a time when you could get duped based on your gullibility. And, don't buy things you don't need. Don't buy things others are desperate to sell you, right? And remember, this is if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Learn how to say no. No, thank you. No, I'm not interested. Walk away. Do nothing. Yeah. Don't sign an agreement. Get somebody else who has very sober insight to look at the paperwork, because there can be sort of deception, even in an unintentional way, white lies. There can be blind spots at this time. You could feel disappointments and discouragement. And that's for all the mutable signs. But I will say all signs will feel this. And that's especially true if you have any planets at that 26 degrees, because the sun and Neptune are talking to your planets in some aspect at that 26 degrees, again, with a 10-degree orb. So I want you to be tender and gentle with yourself, and maybe even time out a little bit. Like, this is the bubble bath day. Okay, let's talk about September 21st. So this is at 27 degrees. The sun is at 27 degrees, and it's in trine to Pluto. Pluto is powerful. So if you have anything in those late degrees, and I take an orb of 10, or even the early degrees, it's going to be this is going to be working with you. So you might find that you step into a relationship with somebody or contact with somebody who has a powerful position that can open up doors for you. You might find that you meet somebody who has a sense of who is the boss or can open up doors that can help you. I also want to tell you this is a time when you can really clean out the clutter emotionally, psychologically, religiously, in your relationships, and all of it. Like, clean out the garbage. This is a time when you can also step into your power and ask for a raise, when you can make positive changes to get like the level up status, the fame, the fortune, and really grow your sense of self out there in the world. You could be seen in your power. This is a great time for you to study the occult. If you want to get to the bottom of something and you want the truth, this is the time when you will find it. This is the time when you will have that last puzzle piece in that 5,000 piece puzzle. You put it in there and you get the whole puzzle. This is time for deep personal transformation. So if you have 27 degrees, give or take 10, going forward or back, so that goes all the way to 13 degrees. No, that goes to, I think, 27 to 7 degrees. And also, 18, 17 degrees. Yeah, it took me a minute. Oh, where's my editor? I don't have Carly Ann. But so look at the orbs, 10 degrees before and 10 degrees after, and of that 27th degree. And this is a time when you can really create deep, transformational, positive changes for yourself and see what houses those fall in, because that's your support system. This would be a great time for you to go deeper into astrology, into the mystical work, into all the areas of life that are unknown, right? The unimaginable compartments of life. Whatever you're passionate about, whatever you're wanting to investigate or research or understand, sleuth for the truth. Yeah, this is sleuth for the truth. This is a time when you can take that on and really make great headway. And this is a time when you can really step into your greatness, your power, your influence, your prestige over your own life, over your own community, allowing for yourself and others to be sort of transformed by your own influence. And so this is a really exciting transit. I love this transit. So let's talk about September 25th. This is a time when Mercury is trining Jupiter in retrograde. And I just want to say positive thoughts, good news. This is such a glorious, great, good, exciting day. And I feel like we might get news that really shines the light on truth on this day. This is a great day for business dealings. I mean, they should go well and signing the deal. This is a great, happy time for you to celebrate something. You might meet a brand new friend. You could make a new relationship with somebody who's just fascinating. This is like mental fascination and great communication. Friends, your network could be huge, and you could earn some really serious profits at this time. So this is kind of a magical time for everyone. But I love it for earth signs. Absolutely love it for the earth signs. Okay, so September 29th, we have Venus in Leo squaring Uranus in Taurus at 22 degrees. Yes. So this can bring sort of a change in your relationship or an unexpected shift of events around your relationships or even your money or your creativity. And you might feel like you need a lot of freedom right now. You might feel suffocated. You might feel just like you've had it. You need a new boundary. You need to cut ties. You need to sever. You need to just end something that is just absolutely suffocating, stifling, too small, too stupid for you. And I just want to tell you that this might be a time when you need to really develop an open mind about your life and get out of the ruts that you are in. So this is a break free, and it can be spontaneous or it can be planned, or somebody will maybe want to break free from you. It's likely that this happens in a fast way, in a short dramatic spurt of energy, right? But I also want to tell you that you could meet somebody unexpected that just rocks your world. It's just that it's like your world, your life can literally have a massive shift to it. So I do want to say to be careful with your money. Just don't wildly spend it on this day, because you just can't see it all. You can't see the total picture. And this can really create massive, massive changes around relationships. You could lose your relationship, or you could step into a brand new one. It's just where whatever your position is, it could really shift at this time. Okay, I wanted to share the chart with you because I wanted you to see this full moon also happening on September 29th. Now you can see the Venus Uranus, right? I do love Venus Jupiter, but there's that double twist to it. And the Uranus is stronger because it's exact. And Juno is there too. So I do think there's going to be, and look in the news, there's going to be major breakups on this day. Because Juno is sort of who you're married to. And that could be a business partnership or a lawyer or an attorney, or, somebody who you are in a strong partnership with, a president and vice president, right? And with Uranus there's a shift, there's a shock. So we'll see what this brings. But this is a day I think that's kind of tough, because you've got this full moon with the Aries moon, and Aries moon is nothing to mess with. Even if it's in positive aspect, if you've ever known anybody with an Aries moon is so strong in its conviction that it literally is like a bulldozer, and it has a very, if it loves you and you're on the right side of Aries moon, oh my God, you will never be loved better. But if it's on the opposite side of you, whoa, it can be just bulldozer. So, and with Libra, which is the last thing of a bulldozer, I mean, these are true opposites, right? Libra is the compliant. So this energy is really dramatic, push pull. And it's tough. It's tough because look at this, you guys, look at this, look at this. Oh my God. We have the South Node on Mars, and we have the South Node in Mars in square to Pluto. Then we have that's a massive loss. We're going to have a massive loss of some sort. Then we have the moon square opposite the sun. That's a goodbye. And then we have Venus squaring Uranus. So when you get giant messages, and none of these are subtle or small or tiny or teeny, these are all giant. September 29th is a karmic day. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. We have the North Node on Chiron, so we do need to heal. And I mean, this is a really, really big day. And I think everybody's involved. I mean, if you have anything at 6 degrees or within 10 degrees of 6 degrees going forward or backwards, this is massive for you. If you have anything around the 27th degree or the 22nd degree, this is touching you. So I can't imagine how this doesn't affect all 12 signs. That's why I didn't want to just be like, oh, for Aries, this is really big. And this has Leo, Taurus, Aries, Libra, and Capricorn. So it's everybody. And then, yeah, I didn't mention water signs, but water signs are affected because Cancer is opposite to Pluto in Capricorn, right? And Scorpio is opposite to Taurus. And yeah, it's really, really big. So October 29th, under the full moon, maybe manifest with your crystals, maybe manifest peace, maybe really stand in the power of love for self and love for others, maybe be sweeter, nicer, and kinder to people. You know what is so interesting? I met this absolutely gorgeous, 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 beautiful woman, and she started to share her story with me. Her story was so horrific. You literally could not see it on her face or in the way she carried herself. And it was such a reminder that the Pluto wounds are psychological. They're from long ago, usually, and they're internalized. And so we are healing those wounds. I also want to tell you something else, and I think it's going to help you. So, in 2 weeks, I am going to do my Chiron video for all 12 houses. I don't want you to miss this video. You might not know a lot about Chiron, but it is the wounded healer in your story, where you are wounded and how you will heal that very wound, where you sabotage self, where life is sabotaged for you, and how you will actually heal it. And I'm going to do Chiron through the houses. And it's going to be really powerful. And so I invite you to come back in 2 Sundays to watch that. And I'm getting ready to do that video. And I hope that it helps a lot of people heal their wounds. And I want you to know that I just absolutely love you. I am so excited to teach my next workshop in Barcelona. If you're coming, I cannot wait to meet you. And it's just going to be thrilling. And yeah, thank you for being here. I'm sorry this wasn't edited. It usually is. So if this is the first time you're seeing me, most of my videos are edited, not all, but most. And I hope that you are enjoying them. Thank you. Please like and subscribe and be a part of our community by becoming a member. From my house here in Seattle to wherever you are in the world, I'm so happy you're here learning with me. Take good care. Bye for now.